My daughter knew that I had a stroke and I lost 40% of my vision in both eyes, but you can't see it because it affected my vision center, my brain, not my eyes. So it doesn't look like I have blindness issues. But she said, Dad, it would be great. It's like the blind leading the blind. You'd be perfect for this. So I didn't think I'd ever go into radio, but here I am. You know, they like the fact that I'm not afraid to talk in public. I'm not afraid to talk about my own visual impairment. And here I am broadcasting news, poetry, sports, science, even old-time radio shows from the 30s and 40s. Yeah, so here I am. It's very exciting. 2002. Sandy leaves 2 sons, Jeremy Shook and his wife Mary of Huntersville, North Carolina. Mary Wagner thought of this idea back in 1987 because she knew a lot of blind people in Worcester. And they were trying to access the news, trying to improve their quality of life, to be connected to their community by being part of the news, connected to the news, whatever. So she approached the Worcester Public Library, and Audio Journal started in a closet at the Worcester Public Library in 1987. I have 3 part-time staff, and my part-time staff do the office coordination, the coordination of volunteers, and the 2 other staff do all the tech stuff, all the editing of the shows that are recorded and sent in to us, all the training if someone's going to use this live studio for live broadcast. And then they have to master every show.
He, too, was a prominent lawyer in the Boston firm of Choate, Hall and Stewart. At the time of his...
I always forget to say that we serve 2 groups of people, the blind and our volunteers. Our volunteers are incredible. This means so much to them. You know, even though it could be a half hour or an hour of reading the news or a play or a story or a magazine, but it means so much to them that they're helping in a small way to serve people in the community. So they're dynamite, they're terrific. So when I came on board, we had a full set of programming. And that programming, most of the programming is still hyper-local news. Every single local newspaper, that's the most important thing we do. We'll read every local newspaper in Worcester County. So if you live in Auburn, you'll hear the Auburn News. If you live in Millbury, the Millbury News. Southbridge, Leominster, et cetera, et cetera. With some things it's easy. If you're just reading a local newspaper, the articles are right there for you. If you're doing a science show or a history show or a political show, you've got to curate those articles, find those stories before you record them. So there are several steps. When I ask a listener, tell me about Audio Journal, she says, I like it because it's my friend in my living room. She knows it's a human voice on the other side, and it like keeps her company, almost like her niece or her nephew came over, opened up the newspaper, and started reading it to her. I try to meet with a core group of listeners once a year. So they've told me things like, can we have a music show to help us sleep at night? So we're now creating a show called Serenity Hour to just have soft meditation music that's in the public domain, that we're not breaking any copyright laws, to help them relax at night. We have a book club that was actually nationally recognized by Oprah Winfrey, which was super cool. That was just a couple years ago. And so for our book club, they call in and they interact with our live book club show called Speaking Volumes. Roughly 25% of our volunteers come in here and do their show right here in the live studio. And they're live on the air, okay? That's about 25% of our shows. The rest of our shows are recorded from home. So So those shows are recorded from home. They are sent to us via Dropbox or WeTransfer. And then we have to edit all that and master the files before it gets plugged in to our wire-ready software, which gets plugged into this multi-purpose soundboard and control board. I made it sound easy, but it takes a lot of steps.
And serves approximately 500 students.
Probably half of our listeners are people who are growing older and they're starting to lose their vision for the first time. So people who are used to reading the newspaper with no problem, used to reading a book, no problem. And now all of a sudden, and sometimes it is sudden, because of glaucoma or other issues, their vision is gone or they've lost the ability to read. And we all take it for granted. We can pick up a newspaper anytime we want or a book, but they can't. So audio journal is one of the many sources of media where they can access the news to improve their quality of life. And right now, our statistics show that we have about 1,500 listeners monthly, and if you look at it on an annual basis, it's more like 10,000. But the other important thing is that Audio Journal offers a service not just for the legally blind, but for those who have Parkinson's, those whose hands shake and they can't hold a book anymore, or they can't hold the newspaper, those who are quadriplegic and want to be connected to their local news line, but again, don't have access to it, or someone with traumatic brain injury. This is all part of our audience that we are reaching out to.
Thousands of federal workers who have gone unpaid. The Capital Area Food Bank said it's providing 8 million more meals ahead of.
I think the challenges are keeping up with AI, keeping up with all the media sources. Like, for example, if we had a little bit more funding and more staff, I would like to interview members of the city council every month because they want to hear what are their city councilors doing for them? What's the mayor doing? What's our U.S. Congressman Jim McGovern doing? I'm looking for volunteers who can speak Vietnamese, who can speak Shri from Ghana, because I know there's a large Vietnamese population, there's a large Ghanaian population in Worcester, and there's a large Haitian population in Worcester. I'd like to reach out to people with dementia, people with Alzheimer's. Even if our volunteers go into their residences and read to them or perform a play or music for them. I think those are the kinds of things where we'll probably need to stretch and grow. Other than getting the word out, one of the things we're going to be moving into podcasting. So what I mean by that specifically is taking some of our shows that we already do every week, every month, and upload them to a podcasting platform such as Podbean or something else. And then once it is uploaded to Podbean, then it gets distributed to Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, iTunes, etc. What's cool about that is then our listeners have another way of accessing the shows. They can say, hey Alexa, or hey Google, or hey Siri, open up Apple Podcasts, open up Spotify, and there it is right there. So that's one thing I hope for the future, to make the whole streaming service for radio and for the blind more accessible, more convenient.